Welcome to the lecture of Python for Data Science. In this particular video, we will start with unit number 5, that is the data wrangling. And in this particular unit, we will see the topic related to the wrangling data. So, which are the subtopics included in the wrangling data? So, these are the subtopics list. The first one is playing with the scikit-learn. In this particular topic, that is the playing with scikit-learn, we have the subtopics like understanding the classes in the scikit-learn, defining applications for the data science. So, these two are the subtopics from the topic that is playing with the scikit-learn. Then we have another topic that is performing the hashing trick. In this particular topic, we have the subtopics like using the hashing function, demonstrating the hashing trick, and working with deterministic selection. So again, this is the different topic that is considering the timing and performance benchmarking with Timeit. So in this particular video, we will see playing with scikit-learn from this particular topic till demonstrating the hashing trick and all other remaining topics that we will continue in our next video lecture. So let's start with the first one, that is playing with the scikit-learn. So we have to see this too, that understanding the classes in the scikit-learn and defining the applications for the data science. So this particular scikit-learn library we have already used when we have implemented our linear regression model. So what is scikit-learn? Is a package. A scikit-learn is a package for the machine learning and the data science experimentation favored by the most data scientists. It contains wide range of well-established learning algorithm, the error function, and the testing procedure. So we have already seen when we have implemented the linear regression algorithm that in this scikit-learn we have the inbuilt OLS method, that is the ordinary least square method. So that particular learning algorithm is well established within this particular package, that is the scikit-learn package. Also, we have seen the error functions. We have calculated that whether the error is present in our linear regression model or not. So we have calculated the R2 score. So various different error functions are also well established within the scikit-learn package. And we also have some testing procedure that whether our model is working properly or not. So we have to test with the help of some procedure. It means this testing procedure. So the learning algorithm, error functions, and the testing procedures are well established in our scikit-learn package. So at its core, scikit-learn features some base classes on which all algorithms are built. So there are 4 class types covering all the basic machine learning functionalities. So the first one is classifying, then comes regression, then comes grouping by clusters, and then comes transforming the data. The basic 3 types of machine learning algorithm are classification, regression, and clustering. In classification, we are working with groups. In regression, we are predicting the continuous value, and in clustering, we are making the different clusters. It means we are making the different groups. So classification is working with categorical data, regression is working with quantitative data, and grouping by clusters, it means we are forming the different groups. And transforming the data means we are transforming the function. We have used the fit transform function. It means we are transforming the data. So there are 4 scikit-learn object-based interfaces. The first one is the estimator, that then comes the predictor, then comes the transformer, and then comes the model. So what is estimator? So for fitting the parameters, learning them from data according to the algorithm. So estimator means what we are doing, we are fitting our parameter to the regression algorithm. It means whatever the algorithm is, according to the algorithm, we are fitting our data set to the algorithm. Then comes the predictor. Predictor means for generating the predictions from the fitted data. Once we have fitted our data set into the algorithm, then we have to predict some values. In the linear regression model, we have predicted some values that falls under the predictor. Then comes the transformer. So for transforming the data, implementing the fitted parameters. So what we are doing, once our data is fitted, then we are transforming the data. Then comes the model for reporting the goodness of fit or the score measures. For that, we are using the model different categories. So the goodness of fit means how accurate our model is. So in the linear regression model, we have calculated the R2 score, which gives us the accuracy, that how accurate the model is. It means the goodness of fit of that particular regression model. In defining the applications for the data science, so we have to see over here that figuring out ways to use the data science to obtain the constructive results is important. So for example, you can apply the estimator interface to a classification problem and regression problem. So what is classification problem? Guessing that a new observation is from a certain group, and regression problem means guessing the value of a new observation. So over here, just for an example, I am using the sklearn library. So from sklearn.datasets, I have imported my inbuilt dataset, that is the load underscore Boston dataset. So my this load underscore Boston dataset is loaded into my object called Boston. Now what I am doing, I am writing that x comma y equals to boston.data comma boston.target. As this is the inbuilt data set, so my this data set is already splitted into my training and the testing model. So when I write boston.data, that will be stored in my x. It means my independent variable x, that is my boston.data, and whatever my dependent variable is, that is my target variable, that is my boston.target, it will be stored in my variable y. So when I am printing my variable x and y, so this is the simple string, that is x and y. Over here I am making use of the control string. So instead of percentage s, my x dot shape and y dot shape will be printed. And you can see in the output that my x dot shape shows me the output like this, that is rows are 506 and the columns are 13. It means these are my x values. For the y values, you can see that you have 506 different rows, and over here no number means it has only one column in it. So we have already seen in the linear regression model that in spite of so many independent variable, we have only one dependent variable. So like this, we have only one column for the y and the various different columns for the x. We have already seen in this simple linear regression that we have taken only one x value and the one y value. But when we are dealing with the multiple linear regression, at that time you can have the multiple x value and the one y value. So this is the case if you have the multiple linear regression. Then comes performing the hashing trick. So using the hashing function, we have to see, demonstrating the hashing trick we will see, and working with deterministic selection, that we will see in our next video lecture. So let's see this first too, that what is the hashing trick is. So the scikit-learn provides you with most of the data structures and functionality you need to complete your data science project. So you can even find the classes for the trickiest and the most advanced problems. So for instance, when you are dealing with the text, so when we are dealing with this text, what we have seen? We have seen the concept related to the bag of words model and the TF-IDF concept. So in that we are dealing with the text data. So for all these powerful transformations can operate properly only if all your text is known and available in the memory of your computer. So to work with the bags of words model and the TF-IDF, the main important thing is your text should be stored in your memory. then and then only these two algorithms can work fruitfully, because in the TF-IDF you know that it gives us the weightage of each and every word. When to find the weightage of each and every word, it is very necessary that all the words are known to the computer system. If all the words are known to the computer system, then and then only the computer system can find out the weightage of a particular word. So we have to load all the words in our memory of our computer. So what is hashing function? Over here, the hash functions are like the secret code. So transforming everything into the numbers. So what is hashing function? It is one type of secret code which will transform our text into some numbers. So unlike these secret codes, you can't convert the hash code into its original value. It means we can convert text into the secret code, but we can't convert from secret code to text. So if someone is giving you the secret code of the hash function, then you can't convert into its original value. It is only one way process from text to the secret code. So, in addition, in some rare cases, different words generate the same hashed result, which is also called as the hash collision. So, let's see that what is the hashing technique is, that is the hashing trick. So, the hash function is using the MD5. It is one type of encryption algorithm. It means some encryption means some security code will be there. So how to convert text into the numbers? It has some type of algorithm. So that algorithm name is MD5. Also, one SHA algorithm is also there. This both the algorithms are part of the cryptographic technique. It means to convert the text into the numbers. So Python possesses an inbuilt hash function named as hash that you can use to compare the data objects before storing them in dictionaries. So let's see its notebook file. So over here, I'm introducing you one another platform where you can write your notebook code. So it is an online platform called as the Google Colab. You can also do your coding in your Anaconda Navigator also, but over here I'm introducing you the Google Colab. So just write in Google, that is Google Colab, and just click on this colab.research.google.com, that is your Google Colab. When you click on this particular link, uh, let's see what happens. When you click on this particular link, then such type of dialog box will open and you have to click on new notebook over here. You can see my mouse pointer, that is new notebook over here. So like this, a new notebook will get open and you can write your Python notebook code over here also. So over here, I am writing my hash related function code. So I am writing over here, that is print hash and Python. So what the hash function will do, it is the inbuilt function available in Python. It will convert my text into some secret code. So I'm running this function, that is print hash Python. So you can click on this particular run button also to run the code. So it will generate some secret code for this particular text. So you can see over here that my secret code is generated. For your computer system, some another secret code will be generated. So it changes from computer system to computer system. Suppose over here, instead of Python, now I am writing Go and I am clicking on run. So it will generate some another secret code for my word Go. So the hash function is used to generate the secret code related to the text. So this secret code can be negative, can be positive. Now to get only positive secret code, what I am doing, I am writing absolute value, that is ABS, and in that bracket we are writing hash Python. It means whatever the minus sign is, that will be omitted, only the positive value will be there in your output like this. You can also perform the modulo operation over here, that is I am writing, that is modulo 1000. So let's write that. So modulo 1000. Now let's run this code. Then you can see over here that whatever my hash function is, after that hash function, I have converted my hash function into the positive value, and then I have used the modulo sign. So you can perform the absolute function, the modulo operation, the division operation related to the secret code. So keeping it till here, thank you for watching.